Dear Mr. President, Mr. Founder, Mr. Bossenbacher, Mr. Grlić, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, jó napot kívánok, tisztelt hölgyeim és uraim. First of all, I would like to thank to the Institute for Cultural Relations Policy for having invited me, and would like also to appreciate my really appreciation for the warm hospitality on the beginning of the conference, and also congratulations on the excellent organization of this very important conference. And it's my really pleasure to join you at this conference, which really provides an opportunity to meet, to share, or to further develop the intercontinental cultural dialogue, and really to share many of various sort of ideas and regarding this cultural diversity and so on. Just before starting up with my presentation, so please feel me allowed to make a small correction in the previous letter where I invited so-called Balkan countries and ambassadors. Actually, Balkan countries or Balkan. I'm ambassador of Croatia. Balkan as a term does not exist anymore, and unfortunately or fortunately, the term Balkans is neither the Balkans country as well. Moreover, as a concept of Balkans has never existed or been accepted, no one ever managed to give it a positive definition, or for that matter, a clear even geographical definition. And what we said, the cynic aspect of the viewing of the Swiss, you know, that so the Balkan has time, and I cannot resist saying the famously commented of Iron Councillor Bismarck, who said that the Balkans did not worth the bones of one Pomeranian grenadier and so on. Now, however, because the term Balkans is neither political or geographical precise enough, the use of the term Southeastern Europe was established and has become increasingly popular, even though it refers to a much larger area. But however, Southeast Europe is actually the right term for this region. And EU also initiative of 1999 is called the Stability Pact for Southeastern Europe, just because of this reason. And online newspaper Balkan Times renamed itself Southeast European Times in 2003. However, European Union institution and member states define Western Balkans as Albania and the former Yugoslavia minus Slovenia, but on the other hand, the EBRD, the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, uses Western Balkan to refer to the above states, but minus Croatia. Today, however, Western Balkan is more of a political than geographic definition for the region of Southeastern Europe that is not in the European Union. But there is a paradox, because if there was on the Western Balkans, where is its eastern part? So we should therefore once for all dispense with the term, because even when used throughout the history, it has always represented just the opposite what contemporary Europe aims to be, just the opposite of the common ground we are trying to agree upon and define here today, and the new environment we are willing to work towards. So we have 30 minutes times, and so I don't lose this in description and explanation this term Balkan. Okay, my objective is to tell a little bit about the political situation. I'm also not expert for Balkan or for this region, but however, I am a professional diplomat, and I have been working in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs since 1992. After Croatia was internationally recognized, so I am deeply in the ministry, and I was the first diplomat who was sent to Switzerland to open the diplomatic consul network, and I'm very happy to be here in Budapest. I'm here 4 months already, and so I'm really settled with and focus on with the Hungarian-Croatian bilateral relations. So I am happy that with Hungary, so it is a very success story. I would also like to give an overview of the historical and political background in short of Croatia, with the emphasis of the foreign political goals. Secondly, I want also lay stress upon the present developing of the southeastern Europe, the Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Kosovo, Macedonia, Montenegro, and so on. Finally, if there is time, I would like to discuss the topic Croatia and its neighbors. And they are neighbors not only the countries belonging to the Southeast Europe or the Balkan, if you want to use the term. Okay, it's your choice, but only also Slovenia and Hungary. Yes, so I divided my presentation in short. Croatia joined the Club of Southern European States after Croatia was recognized, and Hungary was the one of the first country which recognized independence of the Republic of Croatia. It was actually the fulfillment of the Croats' 1,000-year-old dream of independence. The Republic of Croatia was established in rather unfavorable in historical circumstances. This was the late 80s and early 90s period of the last century. You are very young people, and but you know it was the same situation. So where it's contemporary, and Hungary has also the same problem, but it was really different. But to depends with Soviet Union was most easily than to declare sovereignty in former Yugoslavia. Which was also created as an artificial state by force, and cultural space, of course, was created by force, which was marked by the collapse of communism in Eastern European countries, the disintegration of multinational Yugoslavia, and the military aggression against Croatia. Of all the countries which have emerged after the collapse of communism, on the second springtime of nations, Croatia has perhaps the richest, most tangled and most turbulent history. Unlike other European socialist countries which during the democratic change in 1989, like former Czechoslovakia, relatively easily shifted from social to capitalist economic and social system, Croatia has, through its struggle of independence, produced a number of specific characteristics which are even today important determinants of Croatia's image. It should also be emphasized that Croatia, alongside Slovenia, was one of the economically most developed countries or former republics in former Yugoslavia among socialist countries from Eastern Europe. So that's Croatia. You see, it is not usual shape of Croatia. Croatia is borderland. It lies on the geographical border between Central Europe, Southeast Europe, and between the Mediterranean world and continental Europe. It lies also on a cultural and religious border. The very shape of the country reinforces, you see, the impression of a frontier. Nothing compact, square, or secure. It is a result of the history of the Ottomans' attacks. Actually, we have the long border with Bosnia and Herzegovina. Because the Croats inhabit the rim or the ramparts, never the middle. The people of borderland are not relaxed about the heritage of culture. There is always the danger that the rest of Europe may forget about them, or worse, confuse them with the people to the east and south. Pick up any recent publication by the Croatian authorities. Also, I am also diplomat and belong to the, but I'm also scientific and to be a little bit out of my, I'm not so official in that. That's you can see I can be also opening and could be also a critics. Even a tourist brochure and count the number of times such words, Western, Catholic, Central Europe, or even civilizations appear. Or try dropping the word Balkan into a conversation with a Croat and wait for an inevitable protest. Croatia is not part of Balkans, but part of the Western Europe and so on. The prevailing mood, however, of public opinion remained that Croatia is Central European Danube country, and Mediterranean country, which has a very long, intended coastline with thousands of islands, and therefore is an attractive holiday destination. You see, but I think it is actually the result of the history. Hungary and Croatia has a common history, and Croatia or Hungary or the Central Europe has actually had sense for peace, and we never have so brutality over the history with neither with Austrian or with Hungary. But what happened in 20th century, it was terrible. It was tragic. So Croatia has often, but not always, been at war. After Habsburg historic victory of the Ottomans in the 1690s, northern Croatia enjoyed the benefits of peace and orderly government with few interruptions until the First World War. Very interesting. In the past centuries, the peace without wars. But what I mentioned before, the 20th century has undone those gains. The last three generations have known warfare on a scale not seen since the Middle Ages. After the First World War, the Kingdom of Yugoslavia translated into practice the great might have been of Habsburg history. During the last 2 decades, Croatia has successfully repositioned its image from newly formed state burdened with the legacy of war, conflict, and socialism to a beautiful and attractive Mediterranean tourist destinations. Having emerged from the terrible conflicts of 1990s, Croatia has shown impressive progress on its path, on its way to full Euro-Atlantic integration. And Hungary strongly supported Croatia's NATO membership, and we greatly appreciate Hungary's very active role of our EU accession. And however, and the fact that our negotiations wrapped up during the Hungarian presidency of the EU in the first half of 2011. In signing, yes, it is, the EU expecting to be we are expecting to be a member of EU on 1st July. In signing the Treaty of Succession to the EU on 9 December 2011, Croatia took a significant step closer to becoming the 2028 EU member state, slated to take place hopefully on the 1st of July 2013. This will be really a historical moment, and not only for you, or actually for both, for Croatia and for EU. And actually, it is also, for the point of view, Croatian point of view, it is really well-deserved achievement, and Croatia worked hard for more than decades, 12 years or 13 years towards this goal. And Croatia was submitted a new generation of the benchmark, what never happened in the and previous candidates like Bulgaria or Romania had. They had actually not, but according to the failure of the European Union in the negotiation with Bulgaria and Romania, so they wanted just to preserve or to not to lose or just to how can I say. Okay, what happened with Bulgaria and Romania, they didn't want to be happen with Croatia. And Croatia had, because of that fact, so a lots homeworks and new benchmarks. But we did, and we succeeded, and we are very proud on that fact. So the first priority, NATO, we are a member of NATO since April 2009. It was the first foreign political goal, or first aim, priority of the Croatian foreign policy. EU is the second, and the third is regional cooperation. The regional cooperation is actually it is basic constructive element of an integrated Europe. Not only this region, Southeast Europe, and therefore is the regional cooperation one of crucial aspect of the Croatian policy as well. Project of regional character as key instrument of cooperation enable all countries in the region the affirmation of their national interests, but they also create a significant added value for this part of Europe. So, the Southeastern Europe. So, as I said, I am not expert on that issue. But however, I am diplomat, and I was born in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and with 8 we moved to Zagreb, to Croatia, and I have feeling for that, and I spent all my years. I lived also in Switzerland for 8 years, and I came back. 1991. So just to be there, and actually, I am really familiar with the situation what has been happening since 1990s. So, and I can be in that case very objective. So, as above mentioned, the regional cooperation in southeastern Europe is one of the 3 key preconditions. It's one of the key preconditions in EU accessions negotiations. So it is obligation. The countries of the Southeast Europe are obliged to follow or to cooperate, to promote, to improve regional cooperation. But what they do, it is in the practice, it is the other problem, and it is the problem actually. Now, however, there is still huge oscillations in practice due to oscillating political relations stemming from parliamentary relations, media pressure, local or other election, etc. Another thing that proved to be a big problem is the lack of administrative capacities that would, in some countries of the region, turn in practice political promises and commitments taken by prime ministers and presidents at large important meetings. Therefore, it seems to me that this lack of administrative capacities has been one of the key causes of economic, infrastructural and transportation underdevelopment that has persisted in large part of the region. And this is one of the priorities for the time to come. A vision of regional cooperation that would be beneficial for each participant in the process requires additional work, especially during this severe economic crisis. It is the region, so you can see it's not just, it's a little bit, it's not so clear, but however you can see this region starting on, I don't know if you want, from Slovenia on towards Macedonia. But however, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Serbia, Montenegro, Kosovo, Macedonia, Albania, okay, and now, okay, Croatia is so part of the region, but so we have a divided identity to be Central European, Southeastern European, Mediterranean, Danube country, and so on. It's very interesting. So, and we are very proud to have so a lots of identities in Croatia. I'm emphasizing this because I cannot see how, for example, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Montenegro, Macedonia, even Croatia, can overcome the crisis by fighting its causes and consequences exclusively with own state borders. I am deeply convinced that the only way to overcome the crisis is to be open up to one another for joint projects and etc. It is not certain that the dynamics of further EU enlargement after Croatia's accession will be largely approved in the region. Unfortunately, there are numerous outstanding unresolved issues in the region, but three of them are most important. I think it's for you as a student, you have to know, and there are really three most important issues to be resolved. First of all, there is dialogue between Belgrade and Pristina. Belgrade didn't recognize Kosovo yet. They have yesterday was a meeting with a short meeting, 50 minutes between President Nikolic, Serbian president, and Kosovo, but it was so really it was so with hesitation and not on a so friendly manner, just for a public. But the context of the meetings of the negotiation we don't know yet. The second one is the name of the former Republic of former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia. You know the problem with Greece and the name. Croatia recognized Macedonia as they wanted to be recognized. So we support Macedonia, but we support also the dialogue between them, and we are for any issue, for any solution, they agreed upon them. So in that case, so we follow the constructive politic in the region. The third, perhaps, it is more vulnerable or most important issue is dysfunctional of Bosnia and Herzegovina. The issue of permanent constitutional structure and self-sustainability of Bosnia and Herzegovina as the key state for the overall and permanent regional stability. So they are the three key issues of resolving and we are hostage actually all in the region of this unfinished or protracted question, unfinished questions. These, of course, are not encouraging perspectives. What can be seen in horizon is the Union's attempt but stimulating the Europe 2020 strategy in Southeastern Europe to actually create a process compatible with future negotiation or to prepare EU membership aspiring countries for the Union as it should be in 2020. It seems to me that this may happen even before any concrete negotiation starts. So the fact alone that the history of European, there are also paradox. The fact that alone that the history of EU enlargement does not know of the example of the two simultaneous opposite process. First of all, enlargement, and the second, post-conflict stabilization process. Clearly speaks of the specificities of the region. Never has Europe been faced with such a challenge, working on opening itself for new members, and at the same time working on their mutual post-conflict reconciliation and normalization, all at the same time. The character of mutual relations and the consequences of the blood-covered recent past are still very much part of the political and social everyday life in this part of the world, and even more so that, to be realistic and open, it is doubtful to what extent the authentic regional cooperation would have been developed today if it had not been for the transformational power of anticipated EU membership. There is also the main issue and challenge for regional cooperation. Its engine and its fuel come even more from Brussels than from the authentic recognition of the real values and advantages of cooperation in the region. The post-transitional strain, economic crisis, social frustrations, not mention outstanding bilateral issues, still influence the self-containment of Southeastern Europe countries and societies, strong urge to live within one society, while weak of lack of public influence, lack of educational public discussions is also the problem. The civil society and media trivialization additionally contribute to maintaining this trend of isolation, separation from the world, and self-absorption. Political elites are most often trapped by the same syndrome. In Southeast Europe, it is still more about politics and geopolitics than economy. The Swiss has right, they have time. Every indicator of the current state of affairs of economic and social life in the Southeast Europe region dramatically rings the alarm bell, but the lack of a clear strategic vision within the region and among its outside partners still feeds the laggard mentality, sluggish, and the policy of denial of the harshest possible effects of the current economic and financial crisis in Europe. The current economic and financial state of affairs in most of the countries in the region calls for strategic approach to recovery and development in order to make the most of the region's potentials and geo-economic position. Economic depression, contracting GDP, and shrinking economies, scary unemployment rates, foreign debt, lack of capital investments, poverty rates, and other alarming indicators against the background of the still existing political issues with destabilizing potentials, weak state administration, or even dysfunctional or failing state syndromes, together with challenge of corruption and organized crime or negative demographic dynamics across the region, certainly call for urgent rethinking of the overall approach to the Southeast Europe or Western Balkans, as you will, by both the regional leaders and by their EU and international partners. It is the moment to reconsider the way to consolidate regional cooperation, the way to provide mechanisms that would eliminate its constant oscillating, depending on the internal state of play in individual countries or on bilateral issues, while at the same time eliminating institutionalization of any kind as it is historically impossible. The Southeast Europe is neither Baltic nor Central Europe. In Southeast Europe, the relations are much more complicated, and though regional cooperation incentives came from different reasons, their security in post-Soviet period of accelerating jointly towards the post-communism Europe through Baltic Council or Visegrad Group. There is no such a common internal authentically regional denominator in Southeast Eastern region. There are no cohesion body. Actually, they established the regional council cooperation, and also a friend of mine, he was a deputy vice minister, Hido Bišević. He did his job, and now he's the president, general secretary, the former Yugoslav minister of foreign affairs, I think Zoran Svilanović. But it is also it's very expensive body. But this initiative or this organization also had also obstacles in doing their job, and so the results. So there are different approach. Every country has a different approach. That means so we are not so happy with results that have done. Hence, I am referring back to the transformational power of EU membership as it was in Europe after the Second World War. In Southeast Europe too, after these four unfortunate wars the region experienced in a single decade, the idea of Europe will have to provide reconciliation, normalization, and on this based genuine regional cooperation. Everything else would be yet another failure of history. Creation of some grey zones, of frozen conflicts, or even recognition of the new division lines. In this part of Europe we need and can seek our own steel and coal, something to start with, something we all share and of which we could all have benefits. Yes. Looking at the broader picture, these are the states and region which has already surrounded by Euro integrations, and it is thus clear that non-resolving of these issues makes it difficult for EU and NATO to expand. Yesterday, Mr. Rasmussen, the Secretary General, was in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and he put his message to the Bosnian Herzegovina politicians. You know, the Bosnian Herzegovina politicians, you know, they are pulling their strings in your own and on your sides, and they cannot to agree upon a common future of the Bosnia and Herzegovina. It is also really it is actually the dysfunctionality of the Bosnia and Herzegovina. Therefore, the EU and NATO enlargement policy must preserve, but also accelerate its transformation power and its security and stability role in the region. And also Hillary Clinton said she was upset, and she said, please do it your job in Bosnia and Herzegovina. You're a politician, you have the responsibility. As a number of, it was in the end of the October last year, 2 months ago. As a number of open issues throughout the region continue to hamper the EU and NATO enlargement, more than sometimes stalling reforms, sometimes sluggish precisely because of the lack of strategic resoluteness of the EU, thus allowing other players to step in, perhaps Russia. It would be advisable for the EU to elaborate and develop a methodology and strong mechanism to address and resolve all open issues in the region, and amicable and mutually appeasing spirit, but also in a definitive manner. I said other players to step in. Just an association of the 2 days ago of the statement of Mr. Turkish Prime Minister Erdogan. He has time to wait what the European will decide on the Turkish offer to join the EU, and Mr. Erdogan. So it was in a lecture at the ELTA. I don't know if somebody of you were present there. So it was very interesting. So there are so many messages were sent by him. Last but not least, the EU instruments should further be engaged in elaborating regional strategic approach to economic recovery and development, in particular in the priority areas where vast natural and human potential of the region could be turned into profitable assets, thus responding to the social consequences of the current crisis, but also with stabilizing social effects. Good example would be to include the region into the Connect Europe facility, where only a small portion of almost 50 billion euros may provide effective and competitive transportation system in Southeast Europe to the benefit of the EU members also. Political issues must be urgently resolved and unfinished peace must be completed, whilst a common strategic partnership for recovery and development must be established to build upon the vast potentials and resources of the region. Indeed, it is about common development and mapping of the entire region into the European and Euro-Atlantic structures, or about the dangerous individual economic and social depression and prolonged strategic vacuum in this part of Europe. And so I would like to move on to the next topic. So Croatia and its neighbors. Just in short, so I am not. It's over the time. 3. 3. Okay, just a minute. Yo, Serbia, you see, you know that just you can Serbia without Kosovo. Huh? So it's a new map. Croatia, actually, the key in this region lies in the hands of Croatia and Serbia, of course. And we are most responsible for also because it is our neighborhood. You know, so with Serbia, we newly our prime minister also visited Belgrade, and so Croatia is actually ready to cooperate with this government. And by sometimes so the politician in Belgrade before election, so they send some very not skilled, very not political message, and it's has an impact on the both relations and so on. But so we are ready. We're ready. To establish and to be constructive and to have a constructive dialogue with Serbia. And of course we are not against. We are actually in favor of Serbia's application and of Serbia joining the European Union and NATO, of course. But they have to decide what they want. Serbia is also divided society, and they are also the pro-European, pro-NATO. But so it's actually their politics. But we are ready to. We have an open issue, a border issue, missing persons, and so on, and we are ready to resolve with Bosnia and Herzegovina. I think so. It was what I read and said before. It's most related to Bosnia and Herzegovina. Really dysfunctional state, divided state in the Republika Srpska and Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina. As you know, they live also or Croat. They are, according to the constitution, they have to be equal to other peoples. There are 3, but we are not satisfied, and we support actually to be the Croats, because according to the Dayton agreements, the Bosnia and Herzegovina is a state of 3 equal constituent peoples. This equality is actually conditio sine qua non, but reducing Croats as the last numerous and the most vulnerable people to the level of national minority equals taking away 1 leg from a 3 leg stool. So with yes, it was Bosnia and Herzegovina. Montenegro, we had with Montenegro excellent relations. There are some a little bit more not so important, less important issue with the border. Actually, it is a maritime delimitation, but it will be settled, and no problem. And we are supported a lot. Montenegro ambitious toward EU and NATO. So we also gave them our acquis translated into Croatian. It is not our also contribution not only for Croatia and also for Serbia. Yes, and Slovenia is actually member of European Union, and we have excellent relations with Slovenia. But there are some open issue and obstacle, and probably they didn't start with the procedure of ratification. But however, so we are optimistic, and the 2 ministers met 2 days ago, and I think Slovenia will make its task and will ratify Croatian agreement. And the last one, the German said, "Zucker kommt zuletzt." I'm so very proud. It's a phenomena, the relations with Hungary, Croatia. It is not because of the fact that I am ambassador to Hungary, but it is a political phenomena in our history. In Croatian, Hungarian history, there are not black sides. There are not book with black sides. They are not darkness in our common history. We lived together for more than 800 years. And the very famous Croatian literate Miroslav Grlić, he has also sculpture in Peć and also some in Budapest, and he celebrated also by Hungarians. He said there is a book of misunderstanding between Hungarians and Croats. They are they can be put in one book, but understanding, it's not quite enough one library for our. It's really a phenomenon, and we don't have any open issue, and we are paradigm for all Europe. For Europe, how we resolve, for example, the minority issue. It's really an excellent. And Hungary was the first one of the first country which helped enormously. One of the first country which recognized the independence of the Republic of Croatia on 15 January 2000. And just let me to say after all events took place and over the past 20 years or so, the situation in Southeast Europe is very complex. Interstate relations in this area still oscillated tremendously. They are subject to daily politics. Regional cooperation has not been stabilized yet, and the region has been facing enormous temptations. I think that if we exclude Middle East and North Africa, there is not a more complex region at the international scene at the moment, which is at the same time more or less marginalized on the agenda of large powers, both of the EU and the United States. The only path available was to tread step by step to try and build a meaningful cooperation network out of the fragmented relations, in the way to allow every state to find its place in such a perspective and to find space for achievement of own state and national goals. Thank you very much for your attention.